Most of us, either we live in the future with our expectation and anticipation, or we live in the past with our past memories. Is it possible to truly present and live in the present moment in the state of flow? Let's find out from verse 20 of Tao Te Ching. Hi, welcome back to Oneness. Today is day 20 and we will be looking at verse 20 from Tao Te Ching. Let's observe a few seconds of silence. Thank you. So now let's look at verse 20 from Tao Te Ching. Give up learning and put an end to your troubles. Is there a difference between yes and no? Is there a difference between good and evil? Must I fear what others fear? What nonsense! Other people are contented enjoying the sacrificial feast of the ox. In spring, some go to the park and climb the terrace. But I alone am drifting, not knowing where I am. Like a newborn baby before it learns to smile. I am alone, without a place to go. Others have more than they need, but I alone have nothing. I am a fool. Oh yes, I am confused. Others are clear and bright, but I alone am dim and weak. Others are sharp and clever, but I alone am dull and stupid. Oh, I drift like the waves of the sea, without direction like the restless wind. Everyone else is busy, but I alone am aimless and without desire. I am different, I am nourished by the Great Mother. In this verse, he clearly talks about himself. He's self-reflecting his thoughts and he's comparing himself with everyone else. And that way, he flows with his words and talks about how he is being selfless and how he is being at present when others are looking towards something, whereas he is going with the flow. And that's what this verse 20 is talking about. And this, I like to call this verse as the way of flow. Because most of the times we live either in the past or in the future. So what happens is somewhere our mind is always preoccupied with things instead of enjoying the present moment that we have right now. So now let's go line by line and understand what Laotzu means in each line. By the way, the first line, it is more appropriate if it has been in the other verse, that is verse 19. Because that alone is kind of discontinued or doesn't make sense in this line. And in some of the other translation that I used, this line comes as a last line of verse 19. That is, give up learning and put an end to your troubles. So this comes from the verse 19. So that is more relevant. And then he goes, is there a difference between yes and no? Is there a difference between good and evil? Must I fear what others fear? What nonsense! In these lines, he clearly talks about how he is not affected by a social defined rules of good and evil or yes or no. And he also not affected by fear. It can be a fear of unknown. It can be of a fear of future. Or it can be of a fear of our own insecurities and etc. He's not worried about those fears. He lives in the present moment. And then he goes like this. Other people are contented enjoying the sacrificial feast of the ox. In spring, some go to the park and climb the terrace. These two lines, he clearly talks about the worldly pleasure which most of us we seek. And he says that he's detaching from those kind of an expectation and pleasurable things, and then he just observes life. And he goes and says, but I'm alone, I'm drifting and not knowing where I am. So this line made me think that when he says, I'm alone drifting and not knowing where I am, We can say is mind-wise he is wavering and then he is going directionless. Or we can also relate with a cosmic address. So what I mean by cosmic address is, we all know that we are in a small stone which is a flying object in the cosmos, literally, right? The size of the Earth compared to the other planets, it is very insignificant, like a dust. And we are part of that, and then we are just drifting apart in the vast cosmos. So if anyone asks what is our cosmic address is, there is no right way to point that out, because the universe is always expanding, the earth is always rotating, and the solar system is also rotating with the Milky Way, and the galaxy itself is rotating and going around and expanding in a different direction. So that way, he says about the insignificance of attachment to certain thing and place or some address. Then he goes like a newborn baby before it learns to smile, I'm alone without a place to go. So here, the whole verse of this can be also summarized as how a newborn baby will be when it's come to this earth. A newborn baby will be always filled with the warmth of a mother. And it always knows, when the mother is present and the loved one is present, the baby knows their presence and it smiles gently. And also, it also goes through a lot of discomfort or hunger. And when the baby cries, the mother will feed for his hunger and make sure that the discomfort is gone and put the baby to sleep. And the nurturing mother always takes care of the baby. And the baby also doesn't have all the society-driven rules that I have to save for the future. And the baby doesn't live in the future or in the past. It lives in the moment. It smiles and acts and play from the moment. So that is what I am relating with these two lines. Be like a baby. And he also calls himself like a newborn baby. So that way, when we are like a baby, we start living in the present instead of living in the future and accumulating and striving to get something. And he talks about, I am alone without a place to go. No place to go is the place which is not in the future, the place which is not in the past. Being the present moment is the place. Where we are right now is the place. So he talks about he doesn't get affected by the future things, that is the expectation and anticipation, nor by the past of memories. He doesn't go to any of this place. He stays at the right moment. So the Eckhart Tolle, he talks about power of now, how to be completely present and accept the present moment, which is power of now. And I'm relating this verse with being power of now, being in the flow. Others have more than they need, but I alone have nothing. I am a fool. Oh yes, I'm confused. Others are clear and bright, but I am alone, dim and weak. Others are sharp and clever, but I alone am dull and stupid. Oh, I drift like waves of the sea, without direction, like a restless wind. So, whole of this line can be shortened or compressed into one simple thing is, he is clearly talking about he is not looking with the future with any kind of an expectation or anticipation, or neither he is bothered with the past. He is just content with what is there right now. He is with the flow. That's what it means. There is nothing he is affected by the future or the past. And also, this I can also see that where is our unhappiness comes from. The most of our unhappiness comes from either with that expectation or the anger from the past. So neither way, we are not happy with the present moment. So that is what causes unhappiness. And what he talks about is by not allowing for striving and expecting things or getting bothered by the past, he is at peace. The result of giving up everything, the expectation and the pleasures and everything is, he is at peace. And we all know that the highest form of anything that we want is peacefulness. It is not happiness. Because the happiness is momentarily. We can feel happy at that moment, but then as the time goes by, something else will bother our mind. If we look for the peace, peace is a state of mind which is always within us, and we can always connect with that whenever we want. Instead of looking for some situation, event, or something to go and happen so that we will feel happy. There is no rule for peace. And the final words are: everyone else is busy, but I am alone. I am aimless and without desires. I am different. I am nourished by Great Mother. He ends this verse with one punch. I am nourished by Great Mother. All he's saying is he doesn't trust anything from the future or the past. Instead, he just trusts the divine nature, the divine mother, the way of Tao, that he just surrenders to it. Like how the mother will take care of the baby, he expects that he will be taken care and given what he needs, just not what he wants. And being not busy pursuing anything outwardly, he just go within. And this is the way of being even the monk life is, being saint. Just renounce things. So therefore, we are with peace with oneself. And to give you a different context to it before I end, these words are not just applicable for, say, the monk and saint. It can also be for us. How we can embrace the present moment and live in the present moment instead of anticipating and expecting things from others and things and deeds to happen. So that way we can live in the present moment with the peace. So with that, we come to the end of verse 20. And one actionable thought for today is: allow yourself to be in the present moment. So when I say that, whenever your mind drifts like with the expectation and anticipation of something or some situation or some materialistic things that you need from the future, instead align yourself with the present moment. Or if your mind goes back to the past event and brings in a happiness or a sadness, again realign with the present moment. That is being with the present moment, being with the flow. And that way we will also feel peace. And whenever the mind wanders, if you ask yourself the question, is there anything wrong with the present moment? I'm sure the answer always will be, there is nothing wrong with the present moment. What bothers us always comes from either from the future or from the past. So stay aligned to the present moment, be with the flow of life and trust the divine nature to guide you. So that way we will all be aligned. So with that, let's conclude for today. Thank you.